Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Stephanie Liu, and welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Live. Hey! If you guys are just tuning in, let me know where you're watching from. I'm here in beautiful sunny San Diego, and today's topic, we are going to talk about how you can set up a Facebook live stream using multiple cameras and just using your iPhone. Insane! So again, let me know where you're watching from. If you're catching the replay, go ahead and leave the comment #replay. So now let me go ahead and share with you my guest, Jen Baker.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
I know, right? Like, who's here? Let us know where you're watching from. Yeah, so Jen and I, we've known each other. We were just talking about this before we went on air. Almost a decade?
Yeah. It goes by so fast. So you hear the word decade and you're like,
No,
no
don't
way.
say that. It's like, don't say that. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have ever been a part of a professional marketing club, but we had one here, or we have one here in San Diego called Add to San Diego, and it's a part of the American Advertising Federation. And were you president in that?
I was president of San Diego, Add to San Diego.
Yeah. Yes.
And many years ago.
And that's how we met. And now you are the CEO of Vernon Mac. So tell us a little bit about Vernon Mac.
So Vernon Mac, I actually call myself a marketing therapist because what I discovered in all of my decade of serving clients as a full service agency is that I met so many business owners and, nonprofit marketers that were strapped for cash, but the common thread that I noticed is everybody's so frazzled. I mean, there are so many amazing marketing tools out there, but it's constantly evolving, but it's so much information coming at you all the time. And if you're a business owner or, like a small nonprofit marketer and you don't have time to research all that stuff, much less execute it once you learn about it, it's just, you lose yourself. You get frazzled, you start losing sleep, you don't get back to doing your business. And I noticed how much it was starting to affect people's lives, their lifestyles, their health. I forgot what I was talking to a mindset coach one time and he said something like, I'm here to save you from becoming a boring asshole. And that's what happens to people. They get so sucked in. So I said, you know what? There are plenty of full service agencies out there to help the people that want them. I felt this call to really help people on a more personal level and help them get their lives back. And since my expertise now, I have over that decade, almost 2 decades now of marketing experience.
Oh my God.
I decided to put that to good use and just help people get some relief and guide them, help them navigate these waters.
For sure. And it's funny because the way that you're structured too is that you hire independent consultants when you need to. Is that right? Yes.
Which is going back to Add to, that's a part of a larger organization. There's San Diego Ad Club, and there's a national organization that's the American Advertising Federation, AAF. And I was also on a national board in Add to. I was on district boards in Ad Club, and I have had the opportunity to meet so many amazing professionals, i.e. Stephanie. So I have this grab bag of amazing contractors and specialists that I can connect people to. So.
I mean, that's like the best way to recruit. So you're like a little ninja. You swooped in there and then you picked people up. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing because you get to get in the trenches with people so you know how they work.
Oh, for sure.
Before you recommend them. So. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, hey, Tom, it's so nice to have you here, Tom. Tom is one of my Lights Camera Live viewers, and he's like, I never catch it on time. Well, you're here now. Yay. Cool. And we've got Annie, Rianne, Ken, we've got Mike, Nikki. Micah says it's raining in St. Louis again. That's St. Louis, man. Have you been to St. Louis?
Me?
Yeah.
I have.
Did it rain?
Did the arch and everything. It did not rain. It was a beautiful sunny day. Like when I visited Seattle, they say that's how Southern Californians get stuck in Seattle because they go for a weekend and the weather's beautiful.
Yeah.
That almost happened to me.
That's funny. Okay, so if you guys are just tuning in, we're going to talk about this project that we obviously collaborated on. It was for Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air, and they were celebrating their 40th anniversary. Jen this is pretty much like your time to shine and let me know, like let everyone know who Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air is, because that's pretty much like the BFD in San Diego. If you've seen like the pink vans rolling around.
Yes.
So while you do that, let me go ahead and switch the screen over to you. So give them the spiel.
Okay. So we're going to talk about this, we keep calling this epic Facebook Live, which it truly was. But it starts way back with this amazing client. And also, I have to give a shout out to, they've always worked with a traditional mass media marketer, Sheila Fox from Fox Marketing as well. And she's actually the one that introduced me to this client. We're going to say this again, a decade ago.
Well, and you knew Sheila from Add to San Diego too, right?
Yes. Sheila and I go way back. Sheila got me my first job she gave me a referral to get my first job in marketing in San Diego. So she really gave me a leg up in my career. So a few years later, she looked me up, brought me on to take on, at first, what started out to be a smaller project with Anderson, and things just kind of evolved. They had just rebranded as a woman-owned business, became known as the Pink Plumbers.
Yes. You guys, the Pink Plumbers. Hashtag Pink Plumbers if you're watching right now, please.
Yes, hashtag Pink Plumbers. And so Mary Jean Anderson, the president of the company, she's an amazing woman, great role model for women leaders. And she's really open to new ideas and trying new things, which is really what opened the gateway. And I think has a lot to do with her success. So they've grown to, more than a $30 million company over the years. And a lot of that has to do with her.
Wow.
Her tenacity, for one, but her openness, and she surrounds herself with people that she trusts. Sheila's been a big part of that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what Sheila did to help us promote this campaign. So 40 years, it was a big deal because, 40 years for any company to be going so strong for that long is amazing.
Yeah.
But also, what's really, really, really important to Anderson is to be able to pay their success forward and give back to the community. So this 40th anniversary celebration was really about let's give back to people. Hence the idea for this 40th anniversary giveaway and the Facebook Live.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Okay. So, but when you wanted to celebrate the 40th anniversary, you guys went all out and you wanted to have this 40 giveaways, right? Okay.
Yes.
It's all good. I'm going to walk you through this because I was like, wait, we're missing a big piece. So you wanted to celebrate 40 years by wowing your customers by doing 40 giveaways. How did you get people to actually enter into a giveaway? Because you guys, again, we're talking about air conditioning, plumbing, toilets.
I guess I should have said what the client does. Right?
Yeah, like so.
Not everybody's in San Diego.
Yeah, so like we're taking basically this company and this industry where most people are just kind of like, really, you're doing social media? Like, how are you making that super cool? And so to give them a little bit of how they were going to celebrate the 40 years.
So I do need to backtrack a little bit. Since it was 40 years, we did a complete brand refresh. Sometimes your assets just get stagnant and it's time. It wasn't a brand remake, just a refresh. So we redid all of the assets, including the website. So 3 days before we launched this big 40th anniversary campaign, we launched a new website.
Yeah.
Kind of insane. So we launched the new website, and then Sheila who manages the mass media. She also has a lot to do with coordinating with Mary Jean and the other teams for all of the overarching strategy and the branding. I call her the brand whip cracker all the time. She's the one that keeps everybody in line like, that is not brand friendly.
Oh, wow. You know what, actually.
So I've never actually seen Sheila go, but you get the idea.
No, I think I could see her do that. I think we've been at a couple events where, like the Add to San Diego, you guys was like the younger pros compared to like San Diego Ad Club or SDX. And sometimes we would come up with ideas and like the other club would just be like, I don't know about that. Like, slow down there, youngin'. We're like, okay, fine.
So we launched this website. It's all such a whirlwind. We did it so fast. This was about a 3-week sprint, this campaign. Sheila managed some TV, radio. We did direct mail. So the first phase of the contest was a call for entries. Mm-hmm. We did have a commercial, TV and radio, telling people Thank you, San Diego, for 40 wow years. Anderson's tagline is nobody wows clients like we do.
Yeah.
So thank you, San Diego, for 40 wow years. And to say thanks, we're giving away 40 awesome prizes. So, I mean, they have things like fancy bidets. That's funny, but these things are pretty sweet. They light up and warm your bottom.
Well, first off, let's just say, so we're potty training our daughter, right? And then when I was telling Ting, I was like, okay, number 2, you got to go wipe the bottom. And the next day, he got a bidet. He was just like, no. He was like, no, that's not happening. I'm just going to go and buy a bidet. And I was like, really, no? That's a man that solves a problem, right then and there. He's just like, no, there is no wiping on my hand.
There you go. Nice.
I will hose you down, basically, is kind of his thing.
That's awesome. But they also gave away some huge prizes, like HVAC systems. I mean, those aren't, that's a pretty penny. So, so 40 amazing prizes, and put the calls to entry out. We drove them to a website. We had, of course, the landing page. Probably one of the hardest things we had to plan and pull together was also I wanted to do a shout out. I forgot to mention we worked with an incredible agency, Scorpion Interactive. Mm-hmm. They did the website. It's a really amazing website. And so anyway, landing page had all the media to drive to the landing page. We also sent out emails and did social media promotion to do the call for entries.
Yeah.
And then the second phase was the thank you, San Diego, after we had collected all of the entries. So she also ran TV commercials just to say, thank you. Thanks for entering.
Like, this was legit, you guys. When they brought me to the table, they're like, Stephanie, we've had radio, we've got TV commercials, we've got social media and emails. Like, wow, you are so put together. Like, that is the dream client when you ask them, okay, you have a campaign, what are all the different moving parts? And then Sheila and you are just like, boom, this is what's going on. You're like, okay, so I just have to focus on this one thing. I don't have to worry about pixels or copy. Everything was all perfectly put together. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think it was the terms and conditions when we were all sitting around having our internal meetings before we brought you in. It was really the terms and conditions. We want to make sure we had our tookuses covered. And
tookuses? Oh my God, I love that. Tookuses.
And then I just taught my daughter what tookus meant this morning. So it's stuck in my head. But anyway, so the terms and conditions, and then it was one of these meetings when we were just really brainstorming, how can we really drive this home? It was like, I think the client had always been timid about Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, especially when you really have a strong hold on the brand, you have really high brand standards. It can be scary to go live.
Yeah.
But I knew, when we had the brainstorm to say, let's do a Facebook Live for this contest drawing, I was like, I knew the girl. I was like, we got to bring Stephanie in on this. And oh my God, the result was amazing.
Well, and it was funny because I remember going live once, and then you were in the comments, and you're like, how would you do a Facebook Live in a warehouse? And then I was leaving you random comments. And then when you guys came to me, I was like, oh, this is that thing you were talking about. And so I was like, okay, got it. Okay. So when you guys brought me in, you're like, okay, Steph, we want to do a Facebook Live, and we want it to look different than everyone else. I was like, cool, I'm in. Let's do this, right? And there were a couple of questions that I had to ask. I was like, did you want it branded? Did you want to use one camera? What is the set design? That was the part that I feel like most people don't really take into consideration in terms of doing Facebook Live for a client, especially for something big like their 40th anniversary, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is where Sheila Fox was amazing. She's like, let's have a meeting with everyone. How often does that happen, Jen? You actually get all the key players in a room.
Yeah. They're really good about it, everybody coming together. And it's so important because there are things when you're siloed and everybody's like, okay, I have to do, this is what I'm going to do and this part, and then things get missed. So.
Yeah, exactly. And so just to give you guys an idea of what I was walking into, they had Robert Crisholm, who was the set designer. And the set, you guys, was going to be this whole production with pink balloons, black balloons, and 5 different stations to show off each one of the prize categories. And so from a Facebook Live perspective, it was really well, how do I get each one of the stations? How do I get the audio and all of that stuff? And I was racking my brain, how do I do this? How am I going to pull this off? I had an idea, right? But for 2 weeks after I had spoken to you guys, I was nonstop on Amazon, like, I think I need this. I think I need that. returning, buying. But even that was just like Rob gave me his little, what would you call it? It was kind of like a floor design.
Storyboard?
Yeah. It was a storyboard, and it was a floor design of how things were going to look like. And I was working with the team a lot to just be like, okay, what's the run of show going to look like? And that's another important thing, because some people, let's say you're a social media strategist and the client wants to go ahead and run a Facebook Live. You're like, cool, I'll just hit the live button. No, there's like so much planning that needs to go ahead of that. Like understanding the lay of the land, understanding your gear, what exactly the client wants to accomplish as well. Because it wasn't just, I want to go live. You guys also wanted to announce the 40 winners on air, right?
Yeah. So that's where Sheila's organization and really came in handy, is her putting together that run of show and then keeping it updated when things got tweaked, as they will.
Yeah.
They do. Because and then we found an easy peasy online tool to do the I forgot, Ninja Picker.
Yeah,
easy peasy online tool to randomly select the names. You just upload your Excel sheet of entries, and then you worked your magic and figured out how we were going to get that on screen.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And speaking of magic, let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. I want to show you basically what it was. Let's see, entire screen. Can I do that? Yeah, boom. Okay, there we are. So I'm sharing with you guys the SwitcherStudio live streaming gear that, after all of these discussions, kind of started to make sense. Like at this point, Jen, how many entries did we have?
We had, I know it was over 2,000. There were, 2,258 entries.
2,100 what?
2,258 email addresses.
Wow. Hey, that's awesome. That's great. And again, you guys, this is talking about like a specific company where most people don't think about like plumbing and whatnot. That sounded so weird.
Well, no, I mean, I think the point is that I don't think anybody in their mind ever thought that a plumbing HVAC company was going to do something so out there and glam and just cute. Like, do you know anybody that's done the 8-camera Facebook before?
Hell no. So, that was all this. This is all this, dude. Okay, so speaking of that, let's go ahead and show you guys like what we put together. Shout out to Justin, Ross, and Owen who are like in the comments right now. Love you guys. Good to see you. So here's kind of what it boiled down to. So we use SwitcherStudio. So if you guys haven't found out what SwitcherStudio is, you basically take all of your iOS devices, whether it's your iPhone, your iPads, and your Mac, and you could connect them all together so you could create these different camera angles, which was pretty bomb, right? Because I was like, wait, how many stations are you going to have? And you want me to still get you still want me to get audio? I think
don't even act like you were scared.
I was like, I need a crew, and like shout out to Irma and Gary, who is like my hype crew.
Gary Ware, Ad Club.
I know. There's a history to all this, and I think there needs to be some type of like family tree map of Ad to Sandy of like where everyone is.
And of course, a Facebook Live reunion.
That is true. Which, by the way, I tried to get him to come over here, and he's like, I'm in a meeting. Anyway. Okay, so you guys, so SwitcherStudio, that was pretty much the software of choice. And then I had like my one iPad, and literally, you guys, I was on Facebook. I was trying to ask friends. I was like, who has, like, I know you parents out there probably have like 4 iPads laying around. Can you like hook a sister up, right? Like, that's what I was doing. But then it actually turned out that Anderson, they use mini iPads for their customers to sign and make payments. So that was legit. And what was cool is that Anderson, they created like these little posts where they could put the iPads in this iOgrapher case, and they stuck it on there, and I just basically had each post in front of the 5 different stations. So that worked out. So we had 8 cameras, which was ridiculous. This is the iOgrapher, pretty much what I used. I had this iOgrapher with the main switchboard. And what was cool about it is that this iOgrapher case connects to a tripod, and then I had a tripod dolly, which sounds insane because I was like, how do I move this camera without shaking it? Because stabilization was going to be like a real big key part of it, right? So I got a tripod dolly, My husband, like, literally, Jen was just like, what are you doing? Like, there's all, like, nonstop Amazon, UPS was, like, stopping by the house, and they're just like, what are you doing?
I know, like, have you had to rent a storage space at this point?
No, you know what? Actually, I don't know if you saw my Instagram stories, but I knocked out my closet, and I built in new shelves and drawers to just house all this gear. Like, I can't tell you how much new gear I've picked up along the way since live streaming, and now I have a tripod dolly. So, Owen, Ross, whoever needs like a tripod dolly, like, I got you.
So worth it, because you're killing it.
Okay, so you had the OtterBox. I had the Rode mic connected to my iPad. I had to get like all this little stuff in here, but this was literally the gear, you guys, in order to make this happen. So let me go ahead and let's go back to the results of the Facebook Live, because this was the part that was pretty crazy. So you said that we had 2,258 contest entries. We had about 2,300 views of the Facebook Live. Just like, you guys, we only went live for like 20 minutes, right? But we had like 20,000 viewers. We had 183 peak live viewers. This was insane. That was insane. But you, Jen, you on your side. Okay, so I'm here in San Diego. Jen, we didn't even tell people where you're from. Where are you at right now?
I am in Austin, Texas.
Okay. So I'm there in San Diego. I'm at the warehouse with the client, and we're filming. But Jen, remotely, you're managing the comments. How did that turn out? Like, I want people to realize that it wasn't just me. Like, there was a whole team around this. So let's talk about the comments and kind of like what you were experiencing while I was running around with the tripod dolly.
It was great. It was a ton of fun. It was fun to see how excited people were. And of course, we set up some key terms at first in the back end, like negative terms. We didn't want any trolls. So we did that to avoid any trolls. But because, you know, when you have a really popular company, a really successful company, haters gonna hate. So we wanted to avoid that. But one thing that a lesson that I took away from this was I didn't think to watch the early morning reminders, you know, when we were promoting the live coming up, saying your live 10-minute post, stuff like that. So people were commenting on like earlier posts, and they would say things like, I can't get the feed, where is it, how does this work? It's probably important to mention that Anderson does have a slightly older demographic. And so I think some of this was probably a lot of their first experience with Facebook Live. So it was after the fact. A lot of them luckily found their way around it and caught on, and they were able to catch up a little bit later. But I just wish I had been able to help them right away. Like, hey, no problem, come right over here. But I didn't even know those comments were going on. It was just a handful of them, so it wasn't like an epic fail or anything. But
got it. So you're saying that like in your pre-promotional post where you're saying like, hey, we're going to go on Facebook Live, they were commenting on that post while you were mostly focusing on the live feed. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were just coming in. Like the comments were like,
you're like, where are all these comments coming from? Yeah. And it's cool too, guys, because when I was at the warehouse and I had SwitcherStudio open, there's this little tab where I could say, okay, I'm going to look at the comments, and I could see all the comments that were coming in, and then I could see how people were mistakenly using the hashtag, and I was like, oh, Jen's going to have her hands full with it.
Mistakenly or nefariously, I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, we had a hashtag so we were running the Ninja Picker randomly, and you would see your name on screen, and the name would also be read. So if people read, you know, we wanted to encourage people to watch the live. So we said, you know, there was an urgency in that your name would be drawn, but in order to pick the prize you want, you had to call in, and the prizes would be first come, first serve if your name was drawn. So we had a system where you could use the hashtag wow winner in the comments, and you would be given, you know, your place in line, your order based on when you commented. So some people, I think before we even said any names, maybe you misunderstood the rule and were using hashtag wow winner. So there was a lot of, no, not yet. Yeah. You know, and just kind of reiterating like what the...
How did that feel for you? Did you freak out? Were you like, oh, snap, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be? Because you're probably like, okay, they're only going to use the hashtag if they're a winner. And you're like, cool, write it down. What were you thinking?
Yeah. I was thinking that it was going to be difficult because I knew how many entries we had. So I was kind of like battening down the hatches over here, like, okay, here we go. But then as it started going, and I was like, whoa, this is going fast. So yeah, I've got my notepad and I'm writing stuff down. So, but we made it through, and I think everybody had a really good time.
That is true. And for those of you guys who didn't watch it, I'm trying to remember how...
You can still watch the replay.
Yeah, you can still watch the replay. You could see how everything kind of turned out. But we had like 5 different stations. Sometimes there was 2 people on it, but in the warehouse, Jen, I don't think you even knew this, but in the warehouse, we probably had about like 15 people just there for the production. And I was like, this is the biggest thing that I've ever done. And it was so cool to be a part of it. What was really nice was that we definitely tried to make sure that the client wasn't going to be like freaking out about, do I have to follow a script? Do I have to, read things verbatim? If you guys remember when I was saying that we had like a post with the actual mini iPads connected to it, like, oh, and you're going to love this because you like to build stuff. You built your own production studio. But it was like a wooden post and then magnets on there, and then we stuck the iPads on there. And then right underneath it, we put the bullet points that every single product.
The prizes?
Yeah, the prizes that they were supposed to answer. Because honestly, the people that we had for the production weren't like actors. They were real employees from Anderson, right?
Yeah, and that's how Anderson, their commercials are produced using their own employees as well.
That's very
cool. Mary Jean, luckily, is an excellent it's awesome when you have a client who is a great spokesperson.
For sure.
She's amazing on camera. She's always on point, ready to go.
That's true. And they had a ton of fun because they got all dolled up. I don't know if you guys see this on the screen now, but they got dolled up. They got like sequin gowns. The guys were decked out in tuxedos. Again, this was like their 40th anniversary. They went all out. I love this comment from Marissa. Marissa's like, that's important. They're real and authentic. That's for sure. Like, it's people that have worked there for years and years. And so let's see, what else do I have here? I have another photo. What was it? Over here? One more. 1 second. Oh, and then we had confetti guns. Oh, I wish you were there for the confetti guns. That was pretty awesome. That was good. Okay.
It was nice too. I didn't realize, I guess I should have realized because I heard the applause in the background, but I didn't realize what's so amazing about you guys. Another thing that's so amazing about pulling this off is in between, like I heard the applause. It was a great vibe, watching it from this end, but there wasn't a bunch of noise, like background noise. And so to keep all of those people quiet is pretty impressive when they're not supposed to be loud.
Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, I had everyone at their stations. Okay, this is another like pre-production checklist, you guys. I had everyone at their stations and I was like, everyone give me your phones. I was like, give me your phones. I am putting these on silent. I put them like far away on the back table. I made sure everyone else was not using the Wi-Fi because in order to use SwitcherStudio, you all have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi. And because we were at the warehouse, which also has like the sales team, they have their own separate Wi-Fi. So I was like going back and forth with Tyler over at Anderson. I was like, you sure? No one else is using it. Like, this is all mine. Don't take this away from me. Very cool. So, hey, if you guys have any questions about SwitcherStudio, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the comments. I am keeping an eye on them. But what I'll go ahead and do now, Jen, I'm going to take you off screen, and then I'm just going to show them how SwitcherStudio works, and then we'll go back to like more about the case study. Does that sound cool?
Sure.
Okay. So 1 second. Let me share.
Do your thing.
I know. Your mic is still going to be on though, so don't run away too far.
Thanks for the heads up.
I know. I once had like a guest.
Funny story though. The second after you called me and said, your audio sounds great, a concrete truck pulled up outside my office and started pointing. Luckily it hasn't been an issue.
It's too funny. Okay, you guys. So this is how the magic pretty much happened. And what I'm showing you here is the actual iPad that I used. And this was used as my switchboard. So this is pretty much the user interface that's here. From this, if I wanted to add in another camera, what I would do is I would make sure that my phone is on the same Wi-Fi, and then I would go over to Switcher. I would basically need the Switcher app on my phone too. And then I would click on remote camera. From here, I would go into the iPad, click on cameras, and then it says Stephanie Garcia's iPhone, which by the way, you knew me as Garcia. Like, not that many people know. They only know me as Stephanie Lynn. It's like, no, I was like Garcia. So cool. So you connect this other camera, and this is what I did with every single mini iPad that we had, you guys. And fun fact, if you try to jump out of SwitcherStudio and into another app, like let's say somebody texts you, like Jen says, hey, make sure they mention the hashtag. If I clicked on that message, it would completely disconnect everything all over again. So at that point, I was like, Gary Ware, you are in charge if any messages come from Jen. You didn't know that. I'm like having flashbacks now, like what did happen? Okay, cool. So now you guys see that there's this other camera. It's number 2. It's right there. And it's using the camera that's on here. So I could have this facing me. What happens is if I want to go ahead and, I'm just going to put this over here. If I want this to be like my preview, this is my desk. That's my money tree over there. I could go ahead and push live, and then it pushes it to go live into the next screen. And then I'll set up my next shot, and then I'll push it live, and then it goes to the next one, right? And so this is basically what I did for each one of the stations. Like I would have Mary Jane talking in one camera, and then as soon as I would go into the next station, I would pretty much serve it up, and then as soon as I got there, I'd hit live, and then that would go. Cool? So this is kind of like, this is SwitcherStudio. There's so much more that you guys could find out from the actual website itself, but this is the tool that I had. There's other things that you could do, because we even talked about making this branded. We wanted to have like a lower third graphic in there, and you could do that. You could upload different icons in here. You could put in your images. So if I wanted to import, oh, let's not do that because this is my husband's iPad and I don't know what's on here. But yeah, like there was photos, there's albums. If I wanted to have like, you know, broadcast will begin shortly, I could use as a lower third or use as an image. So I had all of this pretty much set up. So I'm going to put this aside right now because it looks like there's another question that just came in. So Tom was asking, how much time did you allow prior to start time for setup? Okay. So Tom, the day before, we went live on a Friday. On Thursday, I was on site with Rob for 4 hours, just making sure with the team, like, okay, cool. So we're going to go this way, we're going to go that way, and then just seeing it and running it with my team as well. So I had like my brother-in-law there with me, and I was like, can you let me know, like, how does this look over there? Can you hear the audio? We created a private Facebook group, Jen. We created a private Facebook group, and that's where we tested everything. We're like, okay, how's the audio sounding? Is it good? Is it flowing? So we did that. So Tom, realistically, when Jen came to the table and was like, okay, how many hours do you guys need? Well, Sheila and Jen, I was like, I need about 8 hours because I need time for the planning meeting. I need time to figure out, I needed to work with you in terms of the promotional plan piece of it. And then 4 hours the day before to take a look at the set design. Because honestly, Tom, they weren't going to set up the set like a week before. They were going to set it up the day before because we were going to have balloons and all of that stuff. And then the day of, we were going to go live. Do you remember? Like, was it at noon?
Yes, lunchtime. Okay. We went tell everybody to get their lunch and have a seat.
So we went there at 10 a.m. And that's when, like, nerves and butterflies were flying in the air. Like, the client was upstairs getting all dolled up. They were getting their tuxes, their gowns, their makeup done. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, when are they going to come down? So I was like, when are they going to come down so I can walk them through this, right? And then it was just a matter of like, you guys can do this because they were comfortable doing commercials. But in terms of live video, everyone kind of gets freaked out. And so we just kind of like prepped all of them of like, okay, like you got this, just act natural. And it worked out. It worked out a whole bunch.
What happens when something goes seriously wrong? You just knock over the camera and then Facebook Live is over and you're just like, come back later. Like, sorry guys, we had technical difficulties.
You know what's funny? I didn't even plan for that. Which is probably like a testament. Like, I'm confident that this could happen. But I would say like if something did happen for that, Gary Ware was there and Gary does improv. So I probably would have like, Gary Ware.
You're on.
You're on. But also in SwitcherStudio, like I said earlier, you could put in individual graphics. So I could say like, if you guys are going to do this, right? If you wanted to have like, we'll be back momentarily, that would probably be a really smart idea. So good question.
We knew we didn't need it. It was fine.
It was awesome, and it was pretty cool. Like I said, we had like about 15 people on staff. It was probably like the biggest thing.
So I'm curious who's in the comments that may have actually seen some of this Facebook Live.
I think Angela was definitely one of the people that tuned in, because I was.
Hi, Angela.
Yeah, Angela Kissimmee, because I was Instagram storing the whole entire thing. I was like, this is the setup, this is the breakdown, this is my gear. Like that was my Instagram stories for like a good 2 weeks. So that was the only thing I was thinking about. Like any other client, I was like, cool, I got you. You're on like automated. Awesome. But this particular client, because it was something completely brand new, I was like, is this going to work? I need to test this out. I was like running around my house with a tripod dolly. It was insane.
Yeah. And then what was the show that it was then featured on shortly after the fact?
SwitcherStudio. Yeah.
It was SwitcherStudio. Yeah, that's right.
SwitcherStudio has their own show, and I think they go live every Wednesday, and they highlight customers that use their product. And so that was like an added bonus to share with the client. It's like, and here, now we've got like some extra coverage for you, but in like a totally different arena. So that was cool. Oh, Maria actually watched too.
Yeah, so that's amazing, Stephanie. I mean, I know we all talk about, it takes a village, but I don't think I wouldn't have even felt confident saying, hey, client, let's do this if I didn't know that I had you to fall back on. Because I know how important the brand is to them, and I knew that if we were going to do this, it was going to be over the top. So I needed somebody who could handle it.
Oh, yeah.
And so the fact that, again, a local plumbing and HVAC company ended up with a Facebook Live epic enough for SwitcherStudio to feature it is just, again, about you.
Now it's like, what are we going to do for the next anniversary? It was a ton of fun. And if I didn't have like a partner with you to work with, right? And like you had like Sheila and you had Rob and you had like the whole Anderson team that was like super gung-ho about it. Like, we're going to do this. Like when you have everyone's buy-in, that's what makes your job so much easier, right? If you're still sitting there trying to convince a client, this is why you need to do Facebook Live, I would have been like, I don't know if I want to exert all that energy on it. So kudos to you, because you guys, you're the ones that got the entries and you're the ones that got people there. I was just praying to the tech gods.
Well, I think it's awesome too. I don't remember who made the comment about how important it is to be organic and authentic. Authentic. And I think that had a lot to do with it, because in terms of the Facebook Live drawing, we didn't set out to get leads that way. I mean, we wanted to get the leads through the entries, but it was really about giving back these prizes. And when it came to the Facebook Live, it was like, let's try something new. And Anderson is really, and thanks to Sheila and Mary Jean for this, they're really open to doing things just for the purpose of branding and not necessarily, how many calls is this going to generate on every single thing that you do, because then it just life gets sucked out of everything.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny too, because I remember Mary Jean was like really nervous about doing the Facebook Live, and she's like, what if I don't get this script down or whatever? And I was like, that's cool, just wing it. And then, as luck would have it, like her earring popped off, and she's like, and there goes my earring. And I was like, I love it. Keep running with it. I was like, keep running with it, because people are watching because they want to know, like, and trust you. Like, you're not just a CEO out there to make money, but you care about your customers, and you're just like another human being. And so,
and your jewelry falls off too.
Oh my gosh, my earring pops off all the time. In fact, it was funny because one of my friends was like, do you wear headphones when you go live? And I was like, yes, I do. They're just black. You probably don't see it, but it hides in there, so it works out. Yeah. All right, cool. What other questions do you guys have about SwitcherStudio? It's probably not going to be anytime soon where you guys are going to need 8 cameras. But if you... Oh,
I need to talk to you about something next week.
Oh, okay. No, so I already actually have UC San Diego's commencement is coming up. And so that's another one where I'm like... Last year they had the Dalai Lama. They had over 2 million Facebook Live views. And I'm like... all right, like, we got to do it this time. So, anyways.
You got it.
So let me share my screen real quick. Boom. Okay, so again, you guys, if you're really interested into what the gear was that I used, there was the tripod dolly, there was the iPads. Pretty much this iOgrapher filmmaking case was what I needed in order to go ahead and attach my VideoMic Pro. I also had, it's kind of interesting, I had to make sure all of the iPads were charged up. So that's like another thing that I'm like, crap, I need to remember this when I do the case study. But like on the stand, we had every single one of them was connected to a charger so that way they wouldn't die when we were on camera. So that was funny. So iOgrapher, still have that. And then all the little connection things that we needed, tripod stand, dolly, the lighting itself. I had the lighting connected to the iOgrapher. Mary Jean was not used to that, Jen. She was like, that is a camera light all up in my face. And I was like, it's all good. I was like, it's good. It works. It works.
It's good to stretch yourself.
For sure.
Try new things.
For sure. So let's see here. Here's a question from Mike. She said, so individual power sources and mics. So this is the tricky thing, Marie. The audio is only going to come in through the switchboard, which is what I had on the iOgrapher and the tripod dolly, which means each of the stands would have just a camera there, but they didn't have mics. So that's why I needed the tripod dolly to zoom across the room and pick up the audio there. As far as individual power goes, yes, I had to make sure that on Thursday, I had to make sure that Tyler turned off all of the iPads. That way the battery was still going to work and the battery was going to work on the switchboard, because there's no way in hell, Jen, that I was like, let's just have them on. So that was like another thing too, is like on Thursday, one of the reasons why we spent 4 hours was I thought that naively, I thought that I could connect each one of the cameras and then tomorrow I'm just good to go. No, it didn't work that way. Like I said before, as soon as you close the app, it disconnects everything. So that's why 10 a.m. on Friday, I was like, now I need to reconnect the cameras in the order that I need them, because I couldn't rename the cameras as this is station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had Post-it notes pretty much saying like this goes here and that goes there. So Maria, I hope that makes sense for you, because you're another live streamer and you know like what goes behind all of that good stuff. And thank you, Mike Alton, for sharing the kit.com, because that's basically what I've been sharing on the screen. All right, Jen, this was amazing. This is fun. You have to let me know the next time that you come to San Diego.
Yes, ma'am.
Anytime? Summer? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't have anything planned right now, but I usually get out there 2-3 times a year, so.
Very fun. Cool. Well, Gary,
definitely got to go do some beach time. I'm thinking, I don't know, like I said, it's pretty hot right now, so I might need to escape. We're having a little heat wave. We're already hitting the 100 mark, but it's early. It's early.
That is. Well, we just got over May Gray here in San Diego, so definitely come out and have fun. Gary Ware says hi. He just jumped in, so see, yeah, he was in his meeting.
Gary. Love Gary. I love me some Gary.
Everybody loves Gary Ware. Gary Ware, you need to have your own Facebook Live show. All right, you guys.
Yes. Yes.
I know, right? We need to have like little like Gary Ware segments of like, this is how you need to enjoy life again.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, Jen, let's go ahead and sign off. Let's say bye to everybody. Thank you everyone so much for hanging out with us. If you have any additional questions about SwitcherStudio, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'll go ahead and go back there. If you have any questions about like, what are some other things that I should be mindful of in a pre-production checklist, leave your questions and comments there. Jen can fill you in on like everything that she did in terms of keeping the audience engaged from the comment section, announcing the winners, and so on and so forth. Okay. Cool?
All right. We're out. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Evening. Bye.
Evening over there. Take care, everyone. Bye now.